All right. So on that note, once again, welcome back. Time to deep dive into our next fireside chat. And I think it's a fireside chat because it's also a very feisty topic coming your way. Meanwhile, also please keep those tweets coming. And let's actually find out what the topic is about. We're in fact asking as to how Intellect Design Arena is enabling AI ML-led digital transformation in banks and financial institutions. If that's a big question on your mind, then let's get the answers from our speaker as well. We have with us Ramanan Venkata, Chief Executive Officer, India and South Asia, Intellect Design Arena Limited. And spearheading this fireside chat, we have with us Praveen Sridhar, Head Independent Software Vendors, Amazon Internet Services. So time to deep dive into the next session coming away right now.
Hey, thanks, Kavya. It's a pleasure to be partnering here with the ET Digital Summit. My name is Praveen. I look after the ISV segment in AWS, as you mentioned, and I'm joined by Ramanan. Hey, Ramanan, glad to see you over here. Looks like the Blazers are out, so probably the field visits have started.
So good afternoon, Praveen, and everyone at the ET Digital Summit. Yeah, Praveen, things are back to normal, I would say, after 2 years of lockdown. We've started 100% work from office from 1st of March. And of course, the client visits have also started to getting back to connect with people is the way forward, I guess.
Yeah, it took me 45 minutes to come to office. So it looks like every other company has started operations. Ramanan, I just want to quickly start with a brief introduction to your company, right? For the audience out there, do you mind just taking us through the journey of Intellect and your own journey at Intellect as well?
Sure, Praveen. I mean, like the introduction did, my name is Ramanan, CEO for India and South Asia. But let me start with the Intellect Design Arena for the benefit of people. 30 years plus pure play BFSI domain products company, currently operating in 250 plus customer locations in about 90 odd countries. Our product suite range from transaction banking. What I mean by that, we are into liquidity management, trade and supply chain, cash management. Interesting fact is that 23% of the global liquidity flows through Intellect platform in the top 6 currencies. Then we are in the global consumer banking space, which is your core banking space. The Reserve Bank of India's core banking solution runs on Intellect. So are the central banks of 11 other countries. We are adding a couple of more in this quarter. Announcements are due. We've recently won the upgrade of central bank from Reserve Bank of India into the cloud native microservices API architecture. The core banking is also for the commercial banks. We run some of the large entities in the Asia Pacific region as well as in Europe. We are into credit cards management. In India, customers like Canara Bank use our complete credit card management platform. And we are into wealth management space. We are doing one of the large transformation in wealth in India with State Bank of India. And shortly we'll be announcing one more in the private sector space. Then we move on to risk and treasury management. Treasury again, starting with the central bank, $500 billion plus treasury of Reserve Bank of India runs on us. And so are 35 plus other clients in the Indian market space. We also have capital market products, custody and brokerage solution. And then we are into insurance, which is mainly a global product in advanced market in the PNC space. In India, we run the platform of Life Insurance Corporation of India for the e-services portal. So complete suite of banking and financial services, I think I may say so.
Impressive list of customers and references, Ramanan, and I'm assuming you are as excited as the rest of the country is with the LIC announcements, which are hopefully happening soon. Ramanan, with these kind of large banks, large names in your reference list, I'm sure, and banking traditionally has been, at least in India, the banking sector has been more around going to a branch and doing the branch banking, right? And that sort of took a backseat over the last couple of years. As we mentioned, the pandemic was here. It affected people's lives. It affected companies. What kind of pressures did it bring to your business? And more importantly, what kind of innovations did it bring to your business?
Yeah, I think some of the large enterprises that I spoke about, we manage 24/7 their operations. So just to name Reserve Bank of India, the complete 24/7 benefit that we get, be it NEFT or RTGS, the backend operations and the data center management was also done by our team. So people had to stay in hotels nearby the data centers to make sure that all of us Indians could bank during those times. So those were initial days, initial times. But the best was the senior folks from RBI also stayed with our team. Okay, the CGMs of Reserve Bank of India, the GMs of Reserve Bank of India also stayed along with our teams. So it was a single unit that enabled to work together. Coming to the transformations, yes, there is a lot of input and energy that is coming from customers, and this is in B2C space as well as B2B space, right? I mean, some of the transformations that we are doing in the Indian banking space are on the B2B, SME lending, corporate banking space. Customers are suddenly realize their customers are also not coming into office, right? So your maker and checker, 2 signatories, everything is now going to be digital, okay? And they are operating from their respective homes with their respective home IPs coming into play. And if you are on a broadband, dynamic IP keeps changing, so it's not a static IP. So those changes are coming. If I were to look at B2C space, the amount of mass affluent wanting to invest in wealth management is increasing. The lot of other changes have already happened, right? I mean, the digital banking on the retail side was always there, even pre-pandemic. We were all spoiled for choice, I would say, that all kinds of transaction, being right from asking for a DD to doing any kind of payment transaction 24/7 has been enabled in India. So the transformations mostly during this pandemic, in my mind, has been happening in the B2B space or the corporate space, as well as niche spaces like wealth management.
Got it. So what did it mean for you, Ramanan, as Intellect? I mean, what kind of pressures were there for delivering projects on time? How did you cope up, and what were some of the new innovations or new product features you came out with in your products?
Yeah. So let me start with the pressures and come to new innovations and things like that. So on day one of the lockdown that happened 2 years ago, 100% of our people were able to work from home. Okay, thanks to the laptop culture that we'd already innovated. So there was no need for anybody to come physically to come to office. So there are multiple types of engagement, right? I mean, your existing customers, you're doing support and things like that. But the new thing that happened during this pandemic was, how do you do new projects? Okay, we won deals across the globe in African subcontinent without having a single face-to-face meeting. And some projects have gone live from remote without a single face-to-face meeting. So we have this concept of product walkthrough. You have a product of doing UAT support. You have a product of moving to production. Everything happening remote. Okay, so those were new learnings for each one of us, and I think we've now sort of mastered it. I can say that tomorrow, if we have to start sending people physically, we might start wondering, why am I spending those times? Even those reviews and other things happening remote has been specialized. The new innovations that are happening, we've always had AI ML based product for the insurance underwriting space in the US, where typically the corporate brokers were submitting documents, and it used to take the manufacturer anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks to go through all those documents as part of the underwriting process. We had developed a capability which we internally call as Doc to API, which can read structured, unstructured data in any format. Could be Excel, could be a PDF, could be a CSV file. It can even actually pull out images from an attachment, email attachment, and then read it and decide where it has to go to, and interface with third-party sources so that the underwriter can get all information in less than 60 minutes so that the underwriting decision can be taken. This capability already existed in the organization. So we've now taken those capabilities and now build solutions in the field of trade finance, in the field of corporate lending, in the field of, it's now become a horizontal. So we have introduced a product in the market in India called Magic Invoice, where invoice processing can be enabled using Doc2 API, because its ability to read structured, unstructured data, validate with your purchase orders, and take a decision whether the supply has happened as per the procurement decision that you're taking.
Got it. Can you go a bit deeper into this Magic Invoice? First and foremost, I love the branding of the product. But how exactly, I mean, and what kind of machine learning services or what kind of machine learning features are you sort of using in this product?
Okay, so let me start with, see, typically why Doc2 API and why the use case in invoice processing. People have all tried various types of OCR engines, right? I mean, they have a limited use case and they have been successful at some point of time. We had to build a proprietary algorithm behind with a confluence of multiple already available capabilities that are there in the OCR space and others, to able to identify and read what those invoices were meaning. So each vendor's invoice will differ from the other vendor, right? So there is no standardization that is available. You cannot force fit and say that like a check leaf, this is where the signature will come, this is where your account number will come, this is where the IFSC will come. Okay, invoice can be of various patterns depending on who the supplier is. So your tool has to have the ability to understand the layout of the invoice and ability to read the items, correlate with your purchase order, and validate whether this is ready for processing. Okay, so you're eliminating the man in the loop, right? I mean, the whole process, which was human intensive, is now replaced with this tool. This is where this came. And when we were actually trying it out with our own set of pilot customers, okay, there was somebody who said, this is like magic. Okay, somebody, I mean, images come and then it gets processed. Then we said, I mean, if this is the customer experience, this is the wow experience that the customer is feeling, why not call it Magic Invoice?
Fantastic. Fantastic. And Ramanan, is this right now, I mean, from a language perspective, is it sort of limited to the English language, or are you sort of customizing it into different Indian languages as well? So
you're right, Praveen, it's starting with English because at least in India, the language of commerce is still English, right? I mean, you don't have too many, unless you go down the strata where the local electrician shop writes in the local language. In B2B business, it is still the language is English. While we are taking the product to other markets, especially in Eastern Europe and other things, we are customizing it for the market. Can the tool read other languages? The answer is yes. And incidentally, one of the biggest projects that Intellect runs in India is government e-marketplace, where Government of India saves billions of dollars annually through the procurement portal. And there we have introduced this invoice processing using Magic Invoice. So language is something that we will start introducing as part of the capability.
Fantastic. And look forward to partnering with you on that, Ramanan. AML is something that we are very passionate about, especially localizing it for the India context and working with our ISVs around that. And I'll definitely be in touch with you regarding that.
So, maybe if I have not mentioned it, this application we run incidentally on AWS, both globally and in India. We've used some of the components that are available in AWS cloud for building this product.
No, thanks for that. I think Intellect has been a fantastic partner for us, and Arun has been a sponsor for us for long. Great to see that. Just one more question, right? I know you are using AWS. You said this is, but what did cloud really mean to you in designing these kind of products? I mean, we sort of think cloud as this massive infrastructure that we provide to our customers and partners. They build solution, but from your perspective, and especially in building this product, how did cloud come about, and how did it help you accelerate things?
See, the first and the most important use case that I personally believe, and may not be the organization view as a whole, but as an individual view, cloud enables scalability, right? I mean, so let's take insurance as an example. We are the month of March. If you talk to most insurers, March contributes nearly 40% of their annual sales. Okay, how do you build infrastructure to meet this kind of scalability? And within March, the last week of March will be 40% of March. Okay, yeah. So you're talking about like 15-16% of the annual volume coming in 1 week.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need something that can scale. Okay, and if you start building infrastructure to this scale for the rest of the year, you're actually overcapacitizing.
Yeah.
Okay? So their cloud surely has it. Now coming to using a provider like AWS to build AI/ML capability products, there are enough and more components that an entity like ours can leverage, right? So those are the things that we realize that instead of trying to build everything on our own, it is important to leverage what is already available in the market. And that's how the journey with AWS started. I think it's now over 4-5 years plus, if I'm not mistaken, that the journey started initially with the US market, and then slowly and surely we've expanded to the other parts of the world as well. The key is that we need to know when to cooperate and when to compete, right? I mean, there are components that are already available. So for example, if somebody comes and gives me a facial recognition tool which is already built, why should I rebuild it? Why can't I just pick it up and then piggyback on that and move forward?
Yeah. So Ramanan, that's fantastic, right? I mean, you pretty much took the way we look at our value proposition, which is basically provide a platform to builders, right? And builders are going to build innovative solutions on top of it. That's been our motto, and that's been our go-to-market. It's just been fantastic speaking with you. What does the next 12 odd months look like for you? What's your plan and vision for the next 12 months, especially now that the pandemic hopefully is behind us and the rate of innovation has sort of started picking up again? What do you hope to achieve in the next 12 months?
Yeah, I also hope that the pandemic is behind us and we don't have to go through another phase 4, 5 and all that. At Intellect, we are making sure that all our products are MAC compliant. What I mean by that is microservices based, API first, cloud native, and headless. Also, there is this huge transformation or change from product company to a platform based company. Okay, so those are the things that we are working on. And of course, there is a need of those kind of platforms, not just in India, but across the globe. But surely my mandate is to look at the Indian market, and I'm seeing a lot of need in the BFSI segment to transition to cloud. There is a need sometimes on hybrid clouds as well. So we have to make sure that all of us, like I said, cooperate then to compete, to make sure that the client's needs are protected.
Absolutely. Customer first. Thanks, Ramanan. And it was fantastic speaking to you today. And hopefully now with travel picking up, I look forward to coming and visiting you in person at Chennai at your wonderful office. But thanks a lot for coming on to this session with me and with the ET team. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Praveen. And thanks everyone as part of this ET Digital Banking Summit. Great chatting with all of you.
Thank you.
Well, some dynamic insights coming your way in the form of that fireside chat. Ladies and gentlemen, And with that, I hope you're also keeping those tweets coming using hashtag #ETDigitalBanking. I do hope you're taking ample time off also to head towards a networking booth, to connect with our partner booths for that matter, in order to understand the latest initiatives, or for that matter, the latest trends, latest offerings. Meanwhile, do keep a track of that leaderboard score, because as I had earlier informed, we also have some very, very exciting Amazon vouchers coming your way, some really exciting, cool prizes coming your way. So keep a track of that. Please do go ahead and take that selfie as well at the photo booth. And don't forget to tag us using the hashtag #ETDigitalBanking. On that note, what we're also going to do is move forward towards our next session. While we do so, the track that's taking place over here, we're going to have our next in conversation session around creative destruction. That's a session taking place over here. Meanwhile, in the parallel track, that's a CXO boardroom track, around 1 o'clock, we also have the digitalization journey session taking place. So those who are also keen to grab as many insights on the digitalization journey can also proceed to the CXO boardroom. As for the rest of you, please stay tuned, because it's also time to begin with our next interesting conversation around creative destruction. I'm going to set the tone in just a couple of seconds. Stay with us.